If we're really trying to get to only disenfranchised individuals, I don't believe that they only exist in cities. I don't believe that they only exist as applicants of housing authorities. And if there's nothing that prevents any institution, including housing authorities, from having these applications, I don't believe we need to be here debating a bill, making a mandate on housing authorities to provide applications. And maybe I'll reserve some of my questions, but I'm so happy that during this debate we've highlighted the housing authority in Hartford. So I looked into the housing authority in Hartford, and I was impressed to see that one of their mission statements is to be fiscally sound agency that provides safe, decent, and affordable, high-quality housing and home ownership choices. But I was also very saddened to learn that the NBC Connecticut troubleshooters did a very lengthy investigation of the Hartford Housing Authority in 2018 and found hundreds of code violations, severe health violations, to the point of units actually being uninhabitable. But guess what, folks? There were people forced to live in those units. Do you know what forced means? They had no other option but to live in those units with their families. There were families that shared their stories. Mold, water, ceilings falling, no heat, no water. You want to talk about disenfranchised? And now we want to mandate the same housing authority, the same institutions that allow individuals to have to live that way? But we want to mandate something they could do anyways. If they cared, if they want, they can do this. Anyone can do this. But we're going to stand here at this hour and mandate this? This is shocking to me. I shouldn't be shocked, but I am. Those violations still exist, unfortunately. And unfortunately, it's not only in the Hartford Housing Authority, but many other housing authorities throughout the state of Connecticut. I have grave concerns regarding what we're doing here. Moreover, and I think I'll spare the good chairman the questions and maybe make some statements, and then certainly I'd be more than happy if there's anything that I misspeak on. We're providing these with applications. It's not that the individual's being accepted, simply that they've asked for an application. That person could be rejected, could be not qualified. So they're filling an application without even knowing where exactly they're going to be a resident of. There's no one designated in this legislation that's going to be actually trained with the information to provide any individual as to the documents they're being provided. I would hope they would actually have the courtesy to go through the application process. But now there's a voter registration that someone's going to be handed and or requests it because it's there and asks questions. And you're going to have individuals that are not properly trained attempting to answer questions. They may actually give misinformation. That's the last thing we want. So now we're putting a burden on the housing authority to do their due diligence, maybe even inquire. I mean, it's offered earlier that they're going to ask for a driver's license. We know we have a variety of different types of driver's license in the state of Connecticut, and it doesn't mean you're a U.S. citizen to vote in our elections. But now we're going to put the burden on a housing authority. And with all due respect, someone that is completely irresponsible enough to have all of these code violations and think that it's completely acceptable for their residents to live in these deplorable environments, to be able to explain what their rights are. I would expect that with that application would be an application about where to file a complaint if the unit that you get is not up to code. Now we're empowering people. And then I certainly encourage and want every single individual that has the right to vote in the state of Connecticut to do so. Because it's through our vote, our voice, that change comes about. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, I'm lending my voice to this opposition of this proposal for a variety of different reasons, but for the most important is they can do this already. It's been said, any institution in the state of Connecticut can do this already. If we want people to vote, let's do it. Let's provide it, but let's not debate things we don't need to. Let's not pass legislation on things we don't need to. And if we want to help the disenfranchised, if we want to help those individuals who qualify for housing authorities assistance, and mind you, everyone, there's also programs that are extended to private housing, private owners, Section 8, and a variety of other programs. So we're not really getting to everyone that we need to if that's the case. And I'll also point out that allegedly it says no fiscal note. But as I read here, the Secretary of State shall also provide to each housing authority any furniture needed to display such literature, materials, and forms. Last time I checked, we don't know how many housing authorities exist in the state of Connecticut. That question was asked. But if they each ask for a piece of furniture or two pieces of furniture, put a variety of different areas, that's a fiscal note. I don't know why it says no fiscal note. Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition of this proposal, not because it's not well intended, it's because it's not needed. And again, there are other issues, I believe, that these same individuals, that we should be assisting them with, and I have not heard anyone say that they haven't had the ability to get a voter registration and need it at all housing authorities. And I believe that only one housing authority came up and speak in favor of this, and I think that speaks volumes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.